The NBA has suspended the rest of its season. Which player tested positive for coronavirus?
Jackson-Madison County schools aren't the only ones looking for a new superintendent. Why their process has been difficult.
And the U.S. Treasury is considering extending the tax filing deadline. Find out why in today's Consumer Watch.
And another mild and warm start to our morning with fog, areas of fog this morning and light rain. But the threat of severe weather will be going up quick as we go into the evening hours. We'll have the full details coming up.
Now, from West Tennessee's News Channel, this is 7 Eyewitness News. Good morning, West Tennessee.
Good morning, West Tennessee, and thanks so much for waking up with us. I'm Josh Robinson.
And I'm Julia Ewald. The time now 6:30 on this Thursday morning, and meteorologist Mo Shamel in with us this morning. And we just want to cut right to it. You need to be weather aware today.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday, just how eerily similar this pattern looks. It looks just like last Monday, only a little worse. A little bit more energy to work with, a little bit more shear, and a cold front coming in at slightly different angles. So we're concerned about, having multiple cells on the map at times, and then some of those producing tornadoes, unfortunately, especially in the Purchase region of West Kentucky and Northwest Tennessee. So that's what we're looking at for today. But in the short term, things are quiet. We've got temperatures right in the upper 50s, so right around 60 degrees, along with some clouds and sometimes spotty sprinkles. But overall, that should remain light and no convection involved with that at all. Otherwise, it looks like temperature-wise across the region, we're at 60 degrees in Lexington. There's 61 degrees in Parsons, the warm spot in Chester County and Henderson City. They're at 62 and 61 along the Highway 64 corridor. Patchy areas of dense fog still developing, especially there in Carroll County at the moment, just west of Huntingdon there. We've got some fog also down in Hardeman County, but also we're seeing some in parts of Henderson County as well this morning. Take a look at our current Storm Tracker 7 Max radar. And again, warm front continue to lift northward through West Tennessee, and as it does that, it could spark an isolated areas of sprinkles here and there. But ultimately, what's happening here is we're going into the warm sector, and that will allow temperatures to climb all the way in the middle 70s today. So again, starting off right around 60 degrees with areas of fog. Give yourself plenty of time to get to your destination. 72 degrees by the time kids are heading home from school. There could be an isolated thunderstorm or two out there. Some of those could be severe as well, but the main threat will be this evening. Parham Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric sponsor for your weather headlines. Scattered storms will be possible through noon, and then, of course, tonight will be our primary threat, and that threat is elevated, especially in Northwest Tennessee. All the details coming up in the forecast. For now, Jay Square, back to you.
All right, thanks, Mo. We begin this half hour across the country as COVID-19 is starting to affect our everyday lives from school to sports.
Reporter Clint Island is live in studio with the details on a major decision. Clint.
In a surprising move, the NBA is suspending its season. This decision comes after one basketball player had a positive preliminary test for the coronavirus. The league announced Wednesday night the affected player is Rudy Gobert. Fans at the arena in Oklahoma City were urged to head to the doors after the game was abruptly called off. Officials say his test results came shortly before tip-off and he was not in the area. NBA officials say they will reevaluate the schedule as the situation progresses. And the coronavirus is also forcing changes on Capitol Hill. U.S. Capitol tours will be stopped for the next few weeks. According to congressional aides, an announcement will be made to stop all tours on the grounds for the remainder of the month. A resident doctor and the Washington Health Board both recommended canceling large gatherings. For now, only tours are affected, but guests could be banned if necessary. And 2 CBS employees have tested positive for the coronavirus. According to a memo, the employees work in 2 different New York City buildings. One works in the main CBS broadcast center and the other works in the 60 Minutes office. Both are being asked to work remotely until offices are cleaned and disinfected. Other employees who came in contact with the infected individuals will self-quarantine for 14 days. The main offices are expected to reopen Monday. And back at home, the University of Tennessee announced Wednesday the UT Martin campus, among other campuses, are temporarily suspending all in-person classes until April 3rd. University leaders say this is a proactive measure in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. There are no reports of active confirmed cases involving COVID-19 on any University of Tennessee campus. And we do want to remind you, there have not been any confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Madison County. The Tennessee Department of Health says there are 9 statewide, most of them being in Middle Tennessee and 1 in Shelby County. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thanks, Clint. Well, the Jackson-Madison County school system has been actively looking for a new superintendent, and now the Humboldt City School District is doing it as well. Humboldt City School Board member Mark Hodge says he would like the next superintendent to follow in the current superintendent's footsteps. Dr. Versi Hamlet's contract is up in June. Hodge says the board needs to find a new superintendent quickly, but he says the process has been difficult because the board only meets once a month.
We're looking to have that next person that will come and be able to continue on the foundation that she's built here.
The Humboldt City School Board will meet tonight at 6:30 in the Humboldt Junior and Senior High School Library.
Well, high school students in Humboldt are mourning the death of one of their classmates. Early Wednesday morning, officials in Humboldt found a teen dead in a carport. Following the news of his passing, the Humboldt High School girls basketball team decided to honor his life with a candlelight vigil.
Once anybody on the basketball team, we consider them as family. And we really remembered him by smiling because he was a happy person. It was never a dull moment when he was around.
He had a very big heart, and he wanted everyone around him just to be happy, and that's how we'll remember him.
An autopsy is pending at the West Tennessee Regional Forensic Center, and the investigation is ongoing. If anyone has information about this incident, call the Humboldt Police Department.
Well, another body found along the Tennessee River is believed to be one of 3 missing boaters. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency announced they recovered the body Wednesday morning, just one day after recovering the first body. They're believed to be part of the 3 missing fishermen from Obion County who were reported missing near Pickwick Lake in February. Both bodies were found within a mile of each other in a stretch of the Tennessee River by the Shiloh National Military Park. Both individuals have been taken to the medical examiner's office in Memphis for autopsy and identification. They're still searching for that third boater.
2 people are dead after a shooting. According to investigators, around 11 Wednesday morning, the Weakley County Sheriff's Office got a call someone was shot on Rogers Road. At the scene, deputies found a man and woman dead inside a garage. They both had gunshot wounds. Both of the bodies have been sent to Nashville for autopsies at the medical examiner's office. Investigators say they do not believe anyone else is involved in the shooting, but the investigation is ongoing. And here's a way you can help our neighbors in Middle Tennessee affected by last week's tornadoes. You can visit one of the more than 50 bakeries across the state selling cookies for donations. It's called #Nashville Cookie Collab. The owner of Dana Cakes in Adamsville says has a goal of sending $500 to the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. But if you can't make it to Adamsville, you can buy another bakery's cookies at LD2 Market Shops in downtown Jackson.
I feel like that's what makes us the volunteer state, and why we wanted to be a part.
Cookies are $5 each, all of the money going to charity. LD2 is also taking pre-orders for t-shirts. They're $20.
Well, around the southeast, the luck of the Irish wasn't enough to save one St. Patrick's Day parade. The mayor of Savannah, Georgia, announced Wednesday their annual parade and festival will not take place. The decision comes as fears of the coronavirus grow. Large gatherings all across the globe are being canceled or moved to help prevent the spread of the illness. No makeup dates have been set, but city leaders say they're hopeful. The last time St. Patrick's Day festivities were canceled, World War II.
Well, we start our morning off with mild temperatures. Some folks already in the 60s this morning, but we also have a little bit of fog out there and even some spotty sprinkles here and there as well. Jones Chevrolet Humboldt.com has a sponsor for the view looking out the window in Lexington when trying to pick up there on that flag, but otherwise it is mainly calm, and that's leading to fog this morning. But we'll see temperatures quickly rising through the 60s this through noon, and about 3 p.m. will be right around 75, maybe the warmest day of the year so far. All the details on the rest of the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. For now, Josh and Julia, back to you.
Coming up, the U.S. Treasury is considering extending the tax filing deadline. Find out why in today's Consumer Watch.
And it's a tale as old as time, one Beauty and the Beast character getting his own series. How you can watch it.
Welcome back. The time now 6:41. As the coronavirus continues to spread, the U.S. Treasury is considering pushing back the tax deadline. According to the New York Times, the Treasury and the White House have been discussing extending tax season beyond April 15th. This comes as House Democrats wrote to the IRS commissioner for an update on how the coronavirus could impact the agency. White House officials say a delay has been discussed, but not being considered at the moment.
In some entertainment news, no one Gaston fights like Gaston, and now he may be getting his own Disney Plus series. Disney Plus is reportedly working on a Beauty and the Beast prequel. It would star actors Luke Evans and Josh Gad in the same roles they had in the 2017 film. According to reports, the 6-episode series will feature musical numbers too.
If you can't tell, Josh is pretty excited. Well, actress Jenna Dewan is a mom for the second time. She gave birth to a baby boy on Friday. She announced the new arrival on Instagram this week. The caption said, "And just like that, our hearts exploded into all of eternity and beyond." His name is Callum Michael Rebel Casey. He's the first child for Dewan and Broadway actor Steve Casey together. Dewan has a daughter, Everly, with ex-husband Channing Tatum.
Well, if you got tickets to Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Fallon, you won't be able to use them. Several late-night talk shows are pulling their studio audiences over coronavirus concerns. Late shows with Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Josh Oliver, and Seth Meyers will tape without audiences. Most of the late-night shows are based in New York. Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy are already taping without live audiences, and Conan is already on a hiatus for the next 2 weeks.
And Ellen said she was going to do the
That's
same
right.
thing. And as the saying goes, the show must go on. If you're not afraid of the coronavirus, now's a good time to go to Broadway. 5 shows have announced they're cutting prices on tickets. Starting today at noon, you can score tickets to To Kill a Mockingbird, West Side Story, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, or Book of Mormon for $50. Prices are good for performances through March 29th. Reduced ticket prices come as health officials advise people to avoid crowded places.
Well, coming up, from a doctor, lawyer, even a teacher, the job possibilities are endless today when that career fair starts.
And we've got the chance of thunderstorms coming to us by late afternoon. Some of those could be on the strong to severe side. We'll have the full details after the break.
And now, WBBJ Storm Team Weather with meteorologist Mo Shamel.
Well, we start our morning off mainly quiet across West Tennessee, but we do have some areas of dense fog at times. One of those areas here in Madison County there, looking to the north there in downtown Jackson. That fog will be lifting fairly quickly as we get behind a warm front that'll continue lifting to the north. Temperature-wise, right now, we're hanging out 61 degrees at the moment with our dew point right at 61 as well, so relative humidity right at 100%. But we also have now a south wind that's starting to pick up. That'll be picking up drastically as we go about the rest of the morning and afternoon hours. Right now, we've got a warm front that's draped across the region that will lift north in response to this low pressure area that is forecast to deepen as this shear continues to increase in this region. It's going to lift quickly off to the east northeast and into the I-70 corridor there in parts of Indiana and Illinois. As it does that, it will drag this cold front into West Tennessee into a developing warm sector, which will be getting well going as we go through the afternoon hours. Here's the latest look at First Alert Futurecast, again showing us against more like spotty showers across West Tennessee this morning. I think it's a little bit overdone in terms of the coverage there, but we will see that front continue to lift off to the north, putting all of West Tennessee and now into a pretty robust warm sector through about the noon hour. There could be an isolated cell try to develop in here. Futurecast, First Alert Futurecast updated just a moment ago, trying to show an area of rain moving through the area. That would be wonderful if that happens, but it also shows some clearing skies and sunshine there towards about 5 and 6 o'clock, which also wouldn't be good. But otherwise, we'll see cells developing in northwest Tennessee and parts of Purchase region of West Kentucky and the southeast part or Boot Hill region of Missouri as we go about the late afternoon hours. That will lead to a few isolated cells or a broken line of cells there. Some of these could be supercellular. In fact, the latest guidance continues to show by about 10 o'clock tonight. Look at this. Notice how the cell has a hook on it, indicating they're going to be rotating. And of course, any kind of rotating cell has that possibility of tornadoes. Unfortunately, the level of shear that's going to be going on up here is quite high, especially in an enhanced risk area that I'll show you here in just a second. Otherwise, that cold front will slide to the south there and stall once again just to the south of the region, and then that's going to allow the railroad tracks to keep going with more rain chances on Friday and it's certainly on Saturday. Right now, Saturday, unfortunately, looks like the wetter day of the next several days here. In fact, we could even have thunderstorms as we go into Saturday evening. I haven't looked at the severity of those at this point, but the chance of thunderstorms thunderstorms certainly going to be there. Looking at our storm energy, what's going to be available to use behind this warm front. Again, it's going to grow pretty quickly once that sun comes up. Here we are by 1 o'clock. You can see moderate amounts of instability across much of West Tennessee. There could be an isolated cell try to develop in this. And if that happens, those supercells will be capable of very large hail and damaging winds and potentially a tornado. But if they develop southward here, they'll be less inclined to produce tornadoes. The better shear will be up here to the north where the main event gets going later on tonight. But the energy does subside as we go towards midnight tonight into the start of the day on Friday. So let's take a look at the threats from the Storm Prediction Center. This is the latest. There'll probably be another update here about 8 or 9 o'clock this morning. But right now we still have an enhanced risk generally between Camden, Milan, and northern Lauderdale County and points north. That's where we have better shear and a lot of what we call helicity in the atmosphere. That's a torque tendency in the atmosphere to produce those mesocyclones, which ultimately, unfortunately, produce large tornadoes, unfortunately, which is a threat today, especially in that region. Otherwise, a slight risk with mainly a damaging wind threat south of that region. As we take a look at what we can expect from that, again, that's a level 2 to 3 across West Tennessee. And again, that means we could see numerous thunderstorms on the severe side of things. And then, of course, 1 or 2 of those could produce tornadoes. Remember, there was only one tornado, really, or well, multiple tornadoes, but one supercell that produced all that severe weather that we saw last Monday. Unfortunately, this pattern looks very similar to that. As we take a look at the rest of the forecast, the chance of rain lingers with us on Friday, chance of thunderstorms back on Saturday, especially Saturday evening. Otherwise, we'll be looking at rain chances continuing as we even start the early part of next week, which will be week number 8 in a row for us. Our forecast brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
All right, thanks, Mo. Well, coming up, young women and girls come together for an educational girls' night out, how they want to spread awareness.
And we'll take a look at some of the top stories we're following this morning. Stay tuned for that recap.
Welcome back to Time Now, 6:53. Coming up today, young women and girls come together for a girls' night out.
Sip and Talk will start at 5 this evening. It's all for National Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day. It'll be at Campbell Street Church of Christ. Also, the day is here, the final round of interviews for the superintendent position.
The Jackson-Madison County School Board will be conducting the interviews today starting at 9. The interviews will be at the Board of Education in the boardroom. There will be a small reception with each candidate after their interview. The candidates are Dr. Ron Woodard, Dr. Roderick Richmond, and Dr. Marlon King. And students get a chance to get insider exclusives about different careers.
The College and Career Fair starts at 5 this evening. It'll be at the Jackson-Madison County NAACP. And parents, you won't be left out either. There will be sessions for both students and parents. And members of the school board will hold a meeting today.
That meeting will start at 5:30 this evening in the boardroom at the Board of Education. A couple of main topics on the agenda are the approval of the March agenda and the final financial reports. And don't forget, you can be a part of the 7 Eyewitness News team. If you see news happening in your area, send us an email, tweet us, or message us on Facebook.
You can also call the newsroom at 424-4515. Your tips are very important to us and sometimes the only way we hear of breaking news. In our top stories recap, Tennessee investigators have confirmed the remains found in an outbuilding last week are 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell. Evelyn was last seen in December, but she wasn't reported missing until February. So far, no one has been charged in her death.
President Trump addresses the nation about the coronavirus outbreak. In his address, he said an antiviral therapy will be available in record time and be prepared for extensive cleanings of most surfaces, empty shelves in your grocery stores, and travel restrictions from the White House.
And speaking of the coronavirus outbreak, the NBA has officially suspended the season after one player tested positive for the virus. NBA officials say they will reevaluate the schedule as the situation progresses.
And finally, there's something special in the sky. It's a unique star. We'll show you more next.
And we've got quiet conditions for now, just mainly some fog as you head off to work. But the chance of thunderstorms going up this afternoon and late afternoon into the evening hours, and some of those could be quite intense. We'll have the details and a final check of your 7-day forecast after the break.
Welcome back. The time now 6:58. There's something special in the sky. It's a unique star that's never been seen before. Take a look. Amateur astronauts were the first to spot the star in data collected by NASA's space satellite.
This star is roughly 1,500 light years away from Earth. A researcher from the Sydney Institute for Astronomy says the star is a chemically peculiar star, and it's twice the mass of the sun and pulsates on one side. So I guess that's why it's got that little hump on it right there.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That's really interesting. We're always discovering something new about our solar system.
If you had to name it, what would you name it? I call it the lemon drop.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. The lemon drop star.
I like it.
I think that's a good one.
Peanut M&M.
Ooh. I like
It does look like a peanut M&M. I don't have any good ones like
They
that.
sound really good right now. Thanks, Mo. Thanks for
What's
that.
it looking like out there?
Well, we are mainly quiet through much of the day. We have some spotty sprinkles here and there for the moment, but this afternoon you have to be weather aware, as we could have an isolated severe thunderstorm try to pop up in that warm sector as it continues to develop through the afternoon hours. By this evening, that's when we expect the main severe weather threat, which could include, unfortunately, a few tornadoes, intense tornadoes, of that, of course, damaging winds and large hail, all factors that could approach parts of West Tennessee. Specifically right now, it looks like that will be Northwest Tennessee. Otherwise, we're looking at chances of rain lingering through the weekend and includes early next week.
All right, thanks, Mo, and thanks for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Have a great day.